Desmond Doss was not your average hero. He didn't carry a gun. He didn't fire a single shot. Yet he walked into the heart of war and saved 75 men. A man of conviction, a soldier of peace, and the first conscientious objector to receive the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest and most prestigious military award. Title card: Desmond Doss, the hero without a gun. Desmond Thomas Doss was born on February 7, 1919, in Lynchburg, Virginia. He grew up during the Great Depression, in a working-class family that struggled like so many others. His father, a World War I veteran, battled with alcoholism and trauma. His mother, Bertha, was a devout Seventh-day Adventist who instilled in Desmond a deep religious faith. For Desmond, the Bible wasn't just a holy book. It was a guide to life. And the 10 Commandments weren't suggestions. They were divine laws, especially one commandment: thou shalt not kill. As a Seventh-day Adventist, Desmond believed in keeping the Sabbath, Saturday, as a holy day, abstaining from work and conflict. He also adopted the church's principles of nonviolence, humility, and often vegetarianism. This wasn't a passive faith. It was one that demanded sacrifice and resolve. When the United States entered World War II, Desmond felt the same calling that many young Americans did: a duty to serve his country. But how could he reconcile his belief in peace with the violence of war? He decided he could serve, just not as a combatant. Desmond Doss enlisted in the U.S. Army as a medic. He made it clear he would not touch a weapon, not even for self-defense. To many in the military, this made him a target, not just of the enemy, but of his own brothers in arms, reenactment or historical quotes on screen. He was mocked, called a coward, beaten during training. His fellow soldiers begged to have him discharged. To them, Desmond's refusal to carry a rifle made him a liability. But Desmond didn't waver. He said, "While I want to serve my country, I must remain true to my beliefs." In 1945, the war reached its final and bloodiest chapter, the Battle of Okinawa. The Japanese were entrenched atop a towering cliff known as Hacksaw Ridge. Taking it meant scaling a sheer escarpment and facing relentless machine gun fire, grenades and mortar shells. Desmond's unit was thrown into the heart of it. With bullets flying and bombs falling, Desmond ran toward the wounded, again and again. No weapon, no cover, just faith. Dramatic pause. One by one, he carried the injured soldiers to the edge of the cliff, tied them in rope slings, and lowered them down to safety. He did this for 12 hours straight. Every time he saved a man, he prayed, "Lord, please help me get one more." And every time, he did. By the end of the day, Desmond Doss had rescued 75 men, alone, under fire, without ever picking up a weapon. Desmond was injured days later, struck by a grenade, and then shot by a sniper. But even as he lay wounded, he gave up his stretcher to another soldier and used a rifle stock as a splint for his own shattered arm. When he was finally evacuated, he was near death. Back home, something extraordinary happened. The very soldiers who had once mocked him now called him a hero. They owed him their lives. In October 1945, Desmond Doss stood before President Harry Truman and received the Medal of Honor. The citation read, in part, "His name became a symbol throughout the 77th Infantry Division for outstanding gallantry far above and beyond the call of duty." Desmond Doss didn't see himself as a hero. He never sought fame. He lived a quiet life in Georgia after the war, battling the long-term effects of his injuries, both physical and emotional. But his legacy grew. Books were written, interviews were recorded, and in 2016, the world rediscovered his story through the film Hacksaw Ridge, directed by Mel Gibson. Millions learned about the man who went to war without a weapon and came home with the Medal of Honor. Desmond Doss passed away in 2006 at the age of 87. But his story lives on, not as a tale of combat, but as a lesson in courage, conviction, and faith. In a world where heroism is often linked to violence, Desmond reminded us, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to fight. Sometimes peace is the most powerful weapon of all. Closing visual: a single helmet on a battlefield. Fade to black. On-screen text: Desmond Doss, Medal of Honor recipient, 1919 to 2006. Lord, help me get one more.